kick it off. Welcome, everybody. For those of you who were here last time, thanks for coming back. For those of you who are just joining, get ready for a jam-packed hour of awesome info. So my name's Mac. I am the event director for Kettle Space. So Kettle Space is a co-working community. In days of COVID past, we had, spaces, we would turn hospitality spaces into places to work out of. Now we launched an online platform that's free to use. You can connect with other people on our in our community, post jobs, and you get access to an events like these and tons of perks. So this is part two of our Facebook group series, Growing Your Group. Leading this hour will be Geraldine and Nello. A little bit about Geraldine. She has a background as a Broadway musician and fell into community building by accident, and actually has an agency now where she helps companies build these online communities. Her latest group, Handy Women, has last week it was 13 or 14,000.
2 weeks was 13. Last week was 14. Today is
15,000. So, yeah, props to her.
Thank you.
Which goes to show that you can really build these things to massive proportions. So without further ado, Geraldine, I'll pass it over to you.
Woo! Thanks, Mac. Thanks so much for having me. So nice to see you guys' faces again from last week. We have a lot to cover today. So yes, quickly, let me do a screen share. Share screen. Going to this one. Today we're going to talk about once you launch your group, what to do. Present. Here we go. So like he said, I have an agency, and so the different things I do with it is consulting, so that you can hire me for just a session to talk about your group upcoming, or if you have a group, how it's going, just for review of what you can do better or differently for the different goals you have. And I also do create and manage groups of existing businesses that want to use groups for their benefit. So the first consulting call is always free. Feel free to hit me up for that. My email, Clubhouse, if you're on it, feel free to join me. I'll join you back. So yeah, today we're going to talk about growing it. And some of you started your group, which is great. As you find out really fast when you launch it, you have to keep trying different things. So here are some things to expect as you keep your group, and you can find your 300, 400 members are starting. And now you can go into the managing growing group beyond the launch period. If you were not here last week about how to create your group, that speech is on YouTube for free. Mac is going to put the link in there, so you make sure to watch it. If you weren't here last week, you will answer a lot of questions, because today we're really going to, you already have a group now, what you can expect from it. So here we go. The truth about managing a group and having a group at any point of the group is that you're going to play good cop, bad cop. That's the game. That's the name of the game. There's no way around it. And most of us just want to be good cops. That's just the bottom line. Most of us are born good cops. We want to be good. We are community builders because we want to help people. We want to serve them. And that means we're good. But if you are too good, what's going to happen is that, like, be too nice and people will destroy your group at some point. So actually, there's a rapport that the more you're able to also do bad cop, the better the group will be. The group will be the intersection of you doing both. It will be the mix of you being good cop, and I'll go through what that means. But you'll do things that keep the spirit of the group good and kind and helpful and a safe space. And the bad cop will really help it, yes, stay safe, where people don't fight. People can come to it and realize there will be no drama. There will always be a little bit of drama, but very minimum if you are a good bad cop. So that intersection is very important. It's the sooner you realize it, the sooner you embrace it, the sooner you apply it, the better your group. The better your group, the quicker it will grow. So just really know that you cannot just be good. You cannot just serve them. You're going to have to be tough. You're going to have to be strict. You're going to have to put boundaries in place. And a lot of times you're not going to want to do it, but it will help. And the good cop will come naturally, and you can really embrace that side as a balancing point. So I think of it oftentimes like parenting. right? It's like parents don't want to just, they can't just let their kids do anything, and they can't just tell them no all the time. You got to find that balance, and that's what raises good kids. It's kind of like that. Not to say that members are children, it's just that when you have that amount of people, you just have to manage it. So in order to be good cop, bad cop, the frequency of both matters and the balance between both matters. So you can't be good cop for 2 years and then abruptly turn to bad cop. And you can't be bad cop for 1 month and then good cop. It's kind of important to keep that balance really regular. So I'm going to show you how, but basically you're looking at like pretty much a weekly kind of balance where you're actively always doing good cop stuff that people can rely on it. So people keep that in mind so that when you need to be bad cop, people already have that, if you're thinking of an actual balance, it's like the good cop is strong enough that when you need to the bad cop, it immediately goes to a good balance. Okay, so all those two things are very active. If you do nothing and now you try to be bad cop, you don't have enough in the balance. Now you just seem like a terrible person. If you just do good cop, you don't do bad cop, your group goes bad. So really important thing to like know going into it. So let's look first with the fun part, the good cop, which we all love. So here are some great ways to be a good cop, and it's going to come with weekly posts. So again, look back at last week, we were talking, you have to do certain things a certain way until you have 300, 400, 500 members, where it's going to be daily engagement, daily questions. First 500 members, you're going to be good cop. You're going to be only bad cop if you need to, but you're going to be very good cop, very kind, everybody come in, not very strict. After 500 members, now you can get into a rhythm. You're no longer like actively trying to get this momentum going. Now you have momentum. So now we're going to settle into a rhythm for the group. We know the group better. So we're going to do weekly questions. You can just start one. And sometimes it takes trial and error. I love that Itamar tried last week and started his group, because as soon as you start a group, you start to realize its own entity, its own identity. And so you're going to find what weekly questions do they want? Do they like? What are they about? So for example, for me at Handy Women, which is my group of 15,000 members at the moment, growing very, very fast, the first weekly question I did was a Friday pick. I was like, this is a group about handiwork. It's very visual. So Friday pick, post your picks. That was the first one. It worked right away. People started posting. So every Friday, and I schedule it in advance, up to 2 months in advance, so I don't have to think about it often. I'll post weekly questions, and then eventually now it's morphed into Friday picks and what did we do now? I don't know, but maybe it's still Friday pick, but now we also added Monday, and the Monday was Monday goals. What goals do you have for this week? And then some members after a year of doing that said, well, we should do before and after, and our projects are in the weekend. So as a result, we do Monday, what did you accomplish this weekend, and what are your goals for the week? So that's an example of over time you get to know your community. So the Monday goals worked great. Lots of engagement, but afterwards, like, oh, we also need to just change it a little bit. So it's Monday goals and weekend updates. So weekly questions is going to be great. Start with one a week, add another. And as you get to know your community, you are going to understand what it is they need. So another example of Handy Women, of the sorts of things you just cannot anticipate. For me, Handy Women, I didn't know who was going to join. Do these women know? Are they all very good at handiwork? Are they all beginners looking for answers? I didn't know. Now I know the community. What I realized is in a community of women, we're naturally very community oriented. And so talking strictly about handiwork was actually really helpful, but also there was a little bit of people that did want to talk about themselves a little bit beyond that in a good way. So we created a space on Wednesday. We call it Whole Woman Wednesday, where on that thread, they're allowed to talk about anything they want. And that is not handiwork related. It's literally the thread about anything else, but that means people can share their businesses. They can use it for promotion. They can share about their mother who is ill. They can talk about what they did with their kids. They can post a photo of them on vacation. And that actually really helped the community feeling. But again, that worked for that community. I have other communities that need other things. So just, see what they need and change it over time. So the weekly questions is fantastic. People rely on it. They love answering it. They look forward to it. Great example of a constant good cop. Celebrate milestones. So in your beginning of your group, you're going to celebrate 10 people, 50 people, 100 people, 200 people. After a while, you're going to celebrate 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000. And I mean, people love those. And you're going to make it really bright and very exciting. Like, you guys, can you believe we were created a year ago and we have 2,000 members? Yay. Or whether it's 20, it doesn't matter. Keep celebrating it. People will celebrate with you. It makes the group exciting. You want to be a part of it. Welcome post. So when you add members in, you want to welcome people. There's a great way. Facebook makes it very easy for us where we don't have to keep track of who we added. When you go to the members tab in Facebook, you got to click members. On the right-hand side, it's going to say you have this many new members this week. And then there's a button that says, click here to welcome them or welcome them into the group. If you click that button, Facebook already made a post with a list of those people. Yay, thank you, Facebook. So that's awesome. That's what you want to use. Now you have to know, once you actually publish that post, you no longer have access to those members. So if something happened when you post it where you lose the post, you don't have access to it again, but that's very rare. So how often should you welcome members into the group? At least once a week. I would recommend around the same days, maybe Saturday or Sunday, doesn't really matter, but around the same day of the week, once a week. But Facebook will list up to 300 members in one post, no more than 300. You cannot have more than 300 people tagged in a post. So if your growth gets really fast, you've had your group for a week, you now have a lot of member requests and you're accepting a lot of members, you want to do the welcome post every 300 members. So for me at Handy Women right now, it's about every other day. So every other day I have a welcome post. I make sure I put it in a different hour than the other post. So if I have the whole Woman Wednesday at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday, I'm not going to put the welcome post at 9:30. I'm going to put the welcome post for 6 p.m. So it's not like at the same time, but I will put it on the same days. It's okay. Like, welcome post as often. The welcome post should say something like, help me welcome new members. Here's our mission. Here's what we're about. Here's the link to the rules. Here's why this community is awesome and what you can expect from it. Here's who I am and why I'm doing this. Those are examples of what you want to put in there. You really want to welcome them. Use fun, ways to do that. And ask them a question. Say, what brings you into this group? What are you hoping to get? Where are you from? And put that like at the very beginning. Welcome everybody. Who are you? Where are you from? What are you hoping to get from this group? And people will answer. That's a really good way to start people talking in the group and feeling like they're not a stranger looking at a group that exists. They're now like an active participant. People love those posts and they're really, really fun. And then another way that's really fun to do is the shout out post. Now I'll talk about insights later, but Facebook gives you tools where you know who are your members that have been most active the past 28 days, who posted the most posts, who posted the most comments, who liked the most posts, things like that. So I like to do a shout out, not in all my groups, depending on the group, they have different identities. But I like to do a shout out where I'm like, hey, like, let's do a shout out. This person has asked this many posts and got this many answers. This person responded to this many posts. This person is, and just like that, people like it. Also, and I'll talk more about it, I have moderators. So I will also in the shout out say, and shout out to the amazing moderation team, this person and this person who are doing an amazing job keeping this group a safe space. So it's really just a gratitude post, sending it back to the members. Again, everybody loves it. So that you don't have to do it. That's just one of the ways to do it. Do I have questions so far? Does that make sense? Let me know if you have questions. Are we good? All right, so I'm going to move on. We're going to have some exercises just like we did last time. So how to be heard in the group, because, okay, you're making those posts, but how do people see them? The bigger the group is and the most active it is, because you could have a big group, nobody talks, but you could also have a group of 2,000 where everybody's talking all the time. The harder it is for you to come out of the crowd. So here are some strategies to help your members read your post, because you're the admin. You may sometimes want to make sure people see it. Fun ways, just as far as like skill, and that would work in any group. You want to make sure as the admin that the tone you use matches the group. So if your group is going to be professional, so I know Claudia was saying she wants to do something with psychotherapy. So this is going to be more of a professional group. So the tone is going to be more like professional sounding, right? If you have a group that's about dating, you want the tone to match that, like, safe, but also like, let's be friendly and warm, things like that. For us at Handy Women, the tone I use in there is very much like women power. That's kind of what I use all the time, is that tone of like, yeah, we can do it. Like, woo, encouraging. So the tone, you want to kind of think about it. What kind of vocab? Don't overthink it, but think about that. Emoticons. There's a reason you see them. They work. They make people look at a post. They keep you going from paragraph to paragraph. So do use them and pick emoticons that work for that group. So for example, in Handy Women, I'm using the arm that's like this, which I don't use in any other group. In my musicians group, I use the rock and roll thing, which I don't necessarily use in other groups. So find the emoticons that work for your group and like have a bit of a range. Like I'll have like 6 to 10 that are my go-to for that group. And I stick to them because again, it's part of the tone and the visual of the group, the choice of emoticons. The other thing to think about is the spacing when you're writing a post, particularly if it's a long post, like a welcome post is a long post. How you space the sentences, you got to make sure the posts are visually appealing. So what I see most people do wrong is they won't use emoticons and they'll just write a giant paragraph that's super long. Maybe they're like, click next sentence, but it's ugly. If you look at it, is it fun looking? Is it easy to jump from paragraph to paragraph to paragraph? That's like a basic online writing is different from any writing class you took in college. So if you took writing in college, you're probably doing it wrong now online. You're doing it right for paper and magazine, but make sure that for online, you don't want to write more than 2 or 3 sentences at once. Even if it's one idea, you break it in like 10 sentences, break it into 3 paragraphs. Use bullet points in the middle of it. Use bolding. In the group, you have options that you don't have for your own profile. You can bold, you can do italics, you can do underline. Use those. You want it to be varied from line to line. Here's a bullet, here's an emoticon, here's a bold. Like it's like, look, is there a visual like storytelling that will help people read your post and stick with everything you have to say in the post? It sounds silly and simple, but it's so important and people do it wrong all the time. Be creative, be a visual artist. Another option is to use the background photo feature. You've seen, not photo, but the background. Facebook has all these different options of these stupid things we've all seen, with the balloons, with a heart. It's so cheesy. They're not good options. They never change them. But you know what? They make a post more seen. So as cheesy as they are, just use them. Some of them are just a full red background. Some of them are a full gray background. Again, stick to one, use it for all your weekly posts. Pick one that works in the color of your group, in the tone of your group. So again, it's going to be different if you have different groups, but make sure you use them for all your weekly posts, as many posts as you can. You can only use them for short sentences. You can only use them for about 2-3 sentences. And after that, they disappear and it's not an option anymore. So anything that's going to be long, like a welcome post, you can't use it. But weekly questions, you can. Milestone, you can. So definitely use that. And finally, as an admin, you have a privilege that no member has, which is you can make a post, an announcement, and you can pin it to the top. Now, something can be an announcement and not be pinned to the top. So it's 2 different things. First, you have to make it an announcement. Once it's an announcement, you can pin it to the top. So more people will go to it. So a lot of group admins will use the pin to the top for a main welcome one that says, here are the rules, here's what it is. Follow that. Does that make sense so far? Yes, everybody with me? Any questions? We're good. We're going to have a Q&A like we did last week at the end. Great. So let's put it into practice. We're going into our first exercise. Open different windows on your computer. I recommend doing those things on computer because Facebook has different abilities on the computer and on the phone. And on the phone as a user is great, but as an admin, it's much easier on the computer. So there are things you can still do on your phone, but when you're writing posts, it's always going to be kind of easier on the computer. So you're going to make 2 drafts on 2 separate windows in Facebook because you got to get used to use the tool. And one is going to be a welcome post and one is going to be a milestone post. And if you don't have do it like even use one of the groups you're a member of and don't post it, but because in that group, you're going to have some abilities. And then just make it a draft. Imagine whatever milestone you want. Imagine whatever welcome. And we're going to give you 2 minutes. And then I would love to see some of them so I can give you some feedback on visual, wording, and things like that. So here we go. And feel free to ask if you have questions in the chat. Claudia, I saw your post in the messages, so make sure you check the chat to answer my question. If you have questions as you're writing these things, make sure you ask me in the chat. Hi, somebody just joined us. We're in the middle of doing an exercise, so feel free to join us and we'll be talking again in 1 minute. Leslie, we are creating the drafts in Facebook itself. You have to go to Facebook, go to any group you're a member of and go to write a post, but instead of clicking publish, you'll just show me, you'll do a screen share and then you'll delete it. And if you really don't want to be on Facebook, then do it somewhere else, but make sure you follow, like, it's easier to do it on Facebook so you can see the actual visual effects. So yeah, write posts. If you're not a member of groups, write posts in your profile. You have less options than in a group, but at least it'll get you started. How are we doing, guys? Do you need a little bit more time? Can you write in the chat if you need a minute more, if you're about done? Let me know if you're done in particular. 1 more minute. Great, you got it. Claudia, sounds good. Yes, absolutely. Have a good time. So keep in mind when you're writing your post, if you're done in particular, double check. Is the spacing good? Does it help the eyes see it? Do you use emoticons? If you're in a group, are you using bolding and highlighting? If you can't find it, maybe you don't have it because you're not the admin. Itamar, you should do it in your group so you can use all the capabilities. Are you using a background? Is it the most visually appealing it can be, is the question. All right, a couple more seconds. And I'm going to ask for volunteers for a couple of those. And you can pick one or the other, whichever is your favorite that you did. Itamar, I'm counting on you. Because I love that you already launched. I think that's wonderful. I think that's the way to go. Get in there and just start. All right, let's get back. Who wants to share? Share one of them. We're going to do a screen share because part of it is visual. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I will be kind and you will learn and it will be helpful, I promise. Who's starting?
I don't mind sharing.
All right, just for the win. Okay, I have to stop sharing so you can share. Go for it. Yes, Jessa.
All right, so I'm sharing my welcome post.
Awesome.
Can you see that all right?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh. First of all, everybody, can we admire the beautiful, what you did that stands out so much, everybody. Do you see the screen is around where it says welcome fellow brides? That's a photo. And that's fantastic to say welcome. That's fantastic. Now the fellow brides, I have a question about fellow brides because that means you're gonna get married, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, first of all, very exciting. But in time, you're gonna get married. So I would just say welcome brides or welcome happy brides, just so that in time it stays the same message independently from your own status. You know what I mean? But that's a small adjustment. This is, so first of all, that's phenomenal. Using a photo, that's great. Hey, ladies, we're so psyched that you are here. This is really good. So a small piece of advice, and I'm going to talk about this, is start a sentence with you or use your, like she did, what Jessa did great, is to use the word you in the first sentence. Instead of we're so psyched, I think you could say something like, welcome here right away, welcome to the group. So happy you're here. So it's really about them immediately as individuals. It's always good. So this is a creative space where you can share how you're saving money on your wedding. So this is great. I would use that as a bullet point. This is a creative space where 2 dots, bullet points, saving money on your wedding DIYs, ask other members for input and advice. So that way it's really, it's going to look really cool. But this is already a really great spot to start. This is really, really good. This is a safe space. So as a gentle reminder of the rules you agreed to when you join the group, there is no self-promotion and negative speech towards other members. This is great. I would use for safe space, I would make it bold. Again, just to keep
how do you
it
do that?
So you're going to highlight it like with your cursor. And then boom, magic.
Nice.
And that's how you get the bullet. So go back up there, instead of doing your little point, highlight the U and go to the bullet.
Gotcha.
And then now go to wedding. Yeah. If you actually go back to the previous line, it's going to automatically do it.
Oh, I see. So if you
Yes.
do like,
And so, and everybody here, this is such a great example because this looks really good. And also because we can do a few things better. So it's fantastic. I'm so glad you shared. Where you say, please introduce yourself in the comments, you will always get more engagement if you ask. Instead of saying, please do that, say, where are you from? When is your wedding? What's one thing you're excited about? Or like, you know, when's your wedding and what's one thing you're super excited about? Boom, question. You will get more engagement. So that's one last thing I would do. And then I would use more emoticons. So maybe at the beginning, welcome ladies, and have 3. You know, even you can have one after each of, you can share how you're saving money on your wedding, emoticon of money, your wedding DIYs, some kind of emoticon for wedding, like the bride. Ask other members for their input and advice, maybe the one of shaking hand, or like a community of women, you know, something like that. And I would also put creative space, I would also bold it. So everyone in the chat, do you see what I'm talking about? How like, and she started with a really good place. So this is really fun to do. But do you see how now it's like, oh, there's different fun things to look at. Can you bold creative space? Yeah, like Mike is saying, making things pop. Yeah. So this is really good. Very good job, Jessa. It's a small adjustment, but there you go. It's already looking more fun. Love it. Really fantastic. Thank you for volunteering. Someone else. I'll do another and then we'll go on. Someone else want to share? Itamar, maybe?
I can. I just wrote it. I didn't design the post itself. But for me, I'm kind of figuring out what exactly is the value. So yeah, I can put it on, but yeah, why not? I'll share.
Did you do one? Did you do the milestone one? Because the milestone, you don't need value.
So no, I did on the welcome actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I'll do the milestone.
Does someone else want to go? All right, Itamar, what do you have to share? Jessa, did you do a milestone?
Can I share my welcome?
Jessa's winning the A+ in this class today. Yes, Itamar, go for it. All right, I love to see it, beautiful. All right, to all our new members, welcome. Love it. Again, it's always best if you address people as individuals rather than a group. So that's for everyone. So say, welcome here. The person will read it as well. It's for them. You know, welcome, just welcome.
Then hashtag, then tagging them.
No, well, the tagging will be done automatically by Facebook and they'll be below your post. So that one is done.
Okay.
Feel free to talk about your thoughts.
It's kind of vague.
No, it's pretty good. Is the feel free? Feel free always seems like it never quite translates. I would say this group is here, so you have. Oh yeah, let's talk is good. Or like this group is here, so you can talk. Using the word "you" is always magical. It will always get to people feeling like you're talking to them directly. This group is here for you to talk about your thoughts, and the great is good. The rest is good. We all want to feel comfortable sharing whatever we like on this group, so please be open-minded and not judgmental. I would say please be open-minded and not judgmental because this is a safe space, or because we want to keep this space a safe space. Because then that implies it already is that. The other way is kind of like we're hoping to get there. It's small details, but really good. What are you most excited about post-COVID dating?
So I guess dating is kind of like, I guess it's not as concrete. I can ask what kind of date you're most excited on having, or where do you wanna go for your first post-COVID date?
You'll do that in your questions. You'll do that on your daily questions. This one as a welcome, like this vague and general is great. I would also ask them about you, about them. When you're welcoming them, get to know them, like what's bringing you here and where are you from? Those are very basic ideas that they don't have to think too much about. They have the answer. It's like, hey, my name is so-and-so. I've been, or like how long, I've been single for a year and I am looking for, this group seemed fun and I just want to see what other single people are thinking about post-COVID, whatever it is they say. And I'm from Denver, Colorado, So this is really good. Same as Jessa, I would say add way more emoticons from the top, at the beginning, make sure it says welcome. I would bold dating and socializing. I would bold that. Be open-minded, and because you're asking them to be open-minded and not judgmental, I would use an emoticon. You know, the prayer one is very good, like a gratitude one or like a smiling face. But same thing, more actual visual that are not words. But this is good, beautiful on the different points. Nice, good job. All right, let's move on, you guys. Thank you for sharing. Let me go back to my. All right, here we go. Now that we talked about good cop, we're moving on to bad cop. So bad cop, rules about rules that you need to remember always, because if you're not prepared, it will catch you by surprise. It will catch you by surprise, and it shouldn't. Rules won't be read. They will not be read. They won't be remembered. If they are read, nobody will remember them. They won't be respected. Even if they know about them, people don't want rules, and they will tell you that they're not breaking the rules, even if they are. And they won't be accepted as valid. So you will try to enforce, and they'll say, but what? That's not a good rule. We shouldn't have that rule. And they will fight you on it. So just remember that it's not personal. It's not you. It's not the rules. It's just the nature of the beast. This is just what it is. So just be prepared. No, it's not you. Remember that. Just anticipate that. So that said, here's some basics to deal with that situation. You'll have to remind members of the rules constantly. By constantly, I mean, that's why you put them in the welcome post. They're going to see it every week, or that's why you have a link to it. If somebody does something wrong, you publicly say, remember, we have a rule about da 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 da. So you just always remind them. You have to use the moderation alert feature. This is a beautiful thing Facebook have. You click in the group on your admin dashboard, and it says create a moderation alert, and you can put as many words as you want. When somebody will write a post or a comment with that word in it, you will get a notification. And that's just great. So for example, a lot of members will sometimes complain about a group. That's in all groups. They'll be like, well, this group used to be like this, and now it's like that. I don't like it. So you can put this group as an alert or group, and then you'll get a ton of posts that are also like, I'm so happy I have joined this group. I love this group. And so you're going to be fine with that. But then you're going to see somebody that's going on a rant about how much they hate the group now. They've been here from the beginning. It's not what it used to be. And then you can address it. And right from there, you can keep it, delete it, make a decision. But at least, particularly if your group has a lot of activity, at least you can stay on top of it by using moderation alert. You can put as many words as you want in it. So as you get to know your group, you'll know what words matter. Like, for example, in a lot of the groups, the word politic is really good. Politics, you know, you're wrong, the word wrong, things like that. Troll is a good word because people will start calling each other troll if they get in a fight. So then you're like immediately on top of it. So use that from the get-go, and then adjust it as you find new keywords that you should be aware of. Encourage members to use the report to admins option. So I always remind them, because a lot of people, when they know somebody broke a rule, they will publicly say, hey, you're breaking a rule. This group is not about that. But that just leads into fights. We don't want members to fight our battles publicly. We want them to say, report to admins. And then when you go to your dashboard and you get a notification with like 4 people reported something, you know there's a problem. You know, sometimes you get 1 person reported, sometimes it's a mistake, sometimes somebody got offended for no reason, so you don't have to do anything about it. But if you start getting 3, 4, 5 people reporting the same thing, okay, we have a little bit of an issue, but now we can address it quicker without them fighting on the group. So I'll always say thank you for that. Thank you to all of you who follow the rules and help this, you know, thank the people that do it right. And add moderators to your team. You can be on your own until about 3,000 members. After that, you probably need a new moderator for every 3,000 members. I personally like to add 2 at once, because I always like there's be an odd number of us, so that when we're not sure what to do, we can have a bit of a conversation. So if I'll have 2 more people, then there's 3 of us. If I'm not sure what to do about something, or if they're not sure what to do about something, we can talk it out. And one person, if you know, one person has a different point of view, it's helpful. But you need to add moderators after 3,000-4,000. It just becomes too much. You need to have a clear set of consequences. Here are all the options that you get on Facebook, thanks to Facebook. You can write a public message to someone. Hey, a reminder, we have a rule about da 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 da. You can send a private message. Hey, just so you know, we have a rule about this, be careful. You can click post approval. So if somebody just posted an ad, for example, when you have a clear no self-promotion, click the little dots on the top right corner and say, turn on post approval for member. Everybody else can post as much as they want, but their post will go first to you and you have to read it and approve it first. That's really helpful. That only goes to 30 days. You can change that. You can make it less long or longer. It's 30 days. You can mute someone. The mute means they can't even comment on the group. When they will try to type something and publish it in the group, it will say, you have been muted for this amount of time. Your options are 12 hours, I think, 24, 48, a week, 4 weeks. So 4 weeks mute is pretty rough. It's good. Like if somebody is going on a rant and you can sense they're very angry right now, a mute for 24 hours can like calm them down. And when the mute ends, if they get back to it, then okay, maybe they shouldn't be in the group anymore. You can remove a comment. When you remove a comment of a post, it removes the thread of it. So if somebody said something like, you stupid, blah, 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 and other people are like, why are you talking like this? It's not good. Yeah, this group is a safe space. And then you have a whole thread. When you delete the main comment, the whole thread disappears. So just be aware of that. You can remove an entire post with all the comments that go with it. You can remove a member and you can block a member. The difference between removing and blocking is when you remove someone, they can still ask to join again. So I know some groups, I don't do that. I don't think I would, but I know some groups will ask for money. If they removed someone, the person wants back in, they'll be like, you can come back in for this amount, because basically you created trouble and now there's a bit of a, you know you have to follow the rules. But if you block the member, they can't even find the group on Facebook. They can, if they search the group, they will not find it and they can't ask to join again. So it's different. And a lot of time when you'll go to remove a post, Facebook will say, do you want to remove the member or do you want to remove the post or do you want to remove post and block the member? It will offer that as an option right away. And you can turn off comments. So on some threads that get very controversial and maybe you don't want to delete it, I will often write one final message. I'll be like, hey guys, remember that our rules are about being kind and courteous. Remember that we are a safe space. If you disagree with someone, there's a way to be polite about it. Fights are not allowed. And then I will make sure that that's the last comment, and then I will turn off comments. So they can no longer talk on the topic. And the last thing is me saying, remember, these are the rules. We got to follow that. So you got to kind of have your like bit of what order of events happen, but do it soon. Do it soon. Don't wait. Don't wait, because if you wait, that's when things go bad. You kind of have to like hit it right away, be on top of it. Like somebody said something that they shouldn't. Hey guys, no. Yeah, but why no? I don't understand. Like, why, you know, okay. So now you're like, that's because this rule. Well, why? I don't understand. Okay, now they're muted. Maybe you send them a private message. You kind of have to act fast, because otherwise the snowball effect of group can really destroy groups and has destroyed groups. So let's put it in practice. This is our second and last exercise of the day. How would you handle the following scenarios? So pick one or two of them and write down what you would do. So scenario one is a member posted an ad. And we know that's not allowed. It's a full-on ad. It's something paid. It's somebody that maybe has never posted before, and they showed up and they posted an ad. Scenario two members get into a fight. You may agree, disagree, it doesn't matter. Like they may both have a really good point, but they're fighting and they're going at it back and forth. Scenario three, a member breaks a rule, and another one tells them, hey, you broke a rule, and now they get into a fight. And scenario four, you delete a post because it broke the rule, and now that member writes a new post calling you a dictator. I wrote this post and admin moved it and I'm really mad about it and they're a dictator and blah, blah. What about freedom of speech? Who do you think you are? So now tell me what you would do in all of those. So write it down. We're going to give you a minute or two. Try to do as many of these scenarios as you can and try to anticipate what might happen and then how you would handle that. Couple minutes, here we go. All right, a couple more seconds, maybe 30 seconds. And as we're wrapping up, I'm going to answer a question from Mac, which was, where do you find your moderators for the group that I mentioned? The way I personally go about that is that I look for people in the group that have been in the group for a long time and that are very frequent members of the group. So when you go, and we'll talk about it, when you go to Insights, it will tell you who uses the group a lot in time. And I'll check how long have they been a part of it. And I'll try to find somebody that's a lot in the group. So that means that somebody that's already really interacting with the group on a very frequent basis, is very committed to the group on an individual level, and that has been there for a long time. So there's longevity. And then I'll reach out and I'll be like, I'm looking for some moderators. Are you interested? Now, the other way that I'm actually about to do at Handy Women is I'm going to have an application. I'm going to say, hey, if you guys are interested, we're looking for a couple more moderators. Here's a questionnaire, like, and we'll pick someone, like a couple people. And the questionnaire will have questions like, how long have you been part of the group? What do you love about the group? What do you think can be better in the group? Where do you see the group going? Why do you want to be a moderator? Just so we can, because the goal is to have people that can be there for a long time. You want people that are there for years, you know, and it's a hard job. So that's a good way to go about it, about finding moderators. Some people also, and I've done it also in the past, is actually people I know. So if it's a professional group, maybe there's someone you personally know on a professional level or personal level that is in the group, that's active in the group, might be a great person. But you have to make sure that they're okay with being, you know, putting the rules in place, because that's what they're there for. So you can't have people that are always very, very nice. You need people that can be bad cop as well. All right. Let's look at some of these. Who wants to give me their answer to one of the scenarios? Unmute yourself and let us know. Don't be shy. Dare. All right, Sydney's on. Woo. I can't hear you, Sydney. I can't hear you. You're not muted though. Put it in the chat otherwise. Put it in the chat. Somebody else. Well, she's writing in the chat. Jessa, did you want to go?
Sure.
Yay.
I feel like these are a little hard for me just because I'm so like, I hate conflict.
Yeah.
So like, I hate having to like I just don't want any drama. So I'm like, cringe. So for the first one, when a member posts an ad, I probably would I would probably delete the ad because I don't want that to be staying there. But then I would also probably give the whole group just gentle reminder, group rules are no promo, that's the policy.
Great. So just to answer your fear of conflict, the less you're going to tell the rules, the more conflict there will be in your group.
Mm.
So use your hate of conflicts to actually help you really stay on top of the rules. Because if you don't, there will be a lot of conflicts and a lot of drama. And when there's conflict in a group, it will always go back against you somehow as the admin. People will always just put it like it's your fault. And you're like, I wasn't even a part of this conversation. It will always be that. So it's great. Because you don't like conflict, you have to really enforce the rules. Mm-hmm. So deleting the ad, absolutely 100%. Putting a reminder to the group is good. That works when you have like under 2,000 members. After a while, there's just so much activity and there's going to be such regular rule breaking that you won't be able to always do that. You'll have to do it in the welcome post. You'll have to do it as a comment. But if it's an ad, removing is good. Sydney had answered scenario 1, remind them of the rules in a private message and remove the post. That again, so the private message thing, a thing to always think about with the idea of growth is like, how much time is something going to take me? So if you write a private message, that's taking a lot of time. And also most likely the person will be like, no, but it's not an ad, it's free. No, but it's not an ad, it's something that really helps the members. They will fight you about it. They will not even admit that it is. And so it's going to take time because now you have to do the back and forth. So because you do this for a long time, I always recommend going to the path that is easiest for you on a personal level, because it's a lot. So a good way is remove the post the member immediately on post approval, because that way you're going to see all their future posts. If they're just there doing ads, maybe then you can write them a message and say, hey, now you've tried to post quite a few ads in a row, and now you cut them all in advance. Which is better than removing something that was already posted. But you can let them at that point private message and say, hey, you've been trying to post a lot of ads, and a reminder you can't do that at that point. And now let's see, scenario. Which other one did you do, Jessa?
My second one was the third scenario. So basically, I chose to mute both members and then comment on the post with a reminder of the rules. And I guess depending on like how involved I want to get, send each one a private message saying like, this mute is temporary, we want to make sure this group is a safe space. So just be mindful of that. And if you feel like you want to come back to the group and participate in a positive way, something like that.
Oh, I like that. That's very nice of you. I like that. So a good way, first of all, that's really good. Yeah. When you remind people of the rules, make sure you turn off comments, because then other people will join in and say, but why are you telling them like one of them is right? No, this other one is right. And then other people will join in the fight and take sides. So turn off comments. This is the end of this. And it's hard because a lot of times people will then think you're taking a side. And a lot of times one of them makes sense and is actually on your side. But so that's where it gets tricky. And so people will think, I've been called a lot of things. I've been called like I'm against a lot of people on that, but it's like sometimes they just don't like that you're telling them to follow the rules, and they'll just attack you. I don't like conflict either, but at some point. So that's the best way. Turn off comments, avoid it snowballing. And so when I remind people of the rule, I also say why the rule is in place. So I'll say, hey, a reminder, we have a kind and courteous rule, and in a handy women, we have an assume best intent rule. And I'll say, that's because we want to keep this space a safe space. Thank you to all of you who follow the rules. So then I'm doing bad cop, and I'm following up with a little bit of good cop and reminding people why it's not a rule just because. It's a rule because there's an actual reason. And the reason you love this group is because we have these rules. Without these rules, you wouldn't like the group. So I do remind them of that. And so Sini also did it. She said, encourage members to report to admin. Oh, that's really good too. Good point. And remind them of the rules in a public message. Yeah, very good. So I guess we would add on to what Jessa said of saying, remember everybody, you can report a group. If you don't like something, report it to admin is the quickest way for us to attend to it. Very good. If it's a second offender, send a private message and turn off comments. I mean, a second offense on getting into a fight, that starts to be bad. That starts to be like, okay, now you're just here to look for fights. So, I may consider removing. Bye, Jessa. She had to go. Great. So good job on this one, everyone. Couple last things. Helpful things that Facebook allows us to do that can be fun. On your admin dashboard, you have a section of insights. You can use them to your advantage. So the insights will tell you how many people joined in the past 28 days. It will tell you how many people joined. You have a whole graph for the past year. So you can see the speed of growth with a beautifully done graph for you. You can see engagement. You have this many members, but this is the other number of how many are actively in the group. They're posting, they're liking, they're watching. So Facebook keeps the difference in that. You can see the activity of admin and mods. If you're like, oh, I feel like I've been doing most of the work, you can actually go into a panel and see how many posts you approve, how many posts they approved, how many times you removed posts, how many times they removed posts. So you can see what everybody's doing. The membership, you can see where people are from, like are most people from the US, from Australia, from New Zealand. You can see, are they mostly women or men? Are they mostly this age range or that age range? So that's good to know. And the activity logs. So it'll say one thing at a time, like Geraldine accepted this new member and the name of the member, this new member, and you can undo something. So if you just removed a post and you're like, oh, that wasn't the post I wanted to remove, you can go to activity log and click undo. Yay, it's a magic button. It's very helpful to have. So you have a little bit of a safety net right there. So these things are really good. They will also tell you what's the day that the group is the most on the group, the members are most on the group. It will tell you at what hour. So if you want to make a post, like a live video or something, then you want a lot of people to be on it, actively pick the time and day that most members are on the group. And this is going to change for every group. So you have access to all that information, which is fantastic. Thank you, Facebook, for that. And then fun things. Now, you don't have to use it, but this is some fun options. I don't personally use all of them, but I'm listing them here. Facebook Lives, they're very good for engagement. All your members will see it. They're really fun for people. You just click a button and you have a Facebook Live by yourself. If you want guests, if you're doing interviews, you have to use a third-party platform like StreamYard, but it's still going to go on Facebook Live. You can use polls, very fun. People love polls. On polls, you have an option for people to add their own answers, or you can put it so it's just your answers. You can also, I would recommend turning off comments because polls just people always get in fights for some reason. You can choose different topics. You can add files. Members love to add files. You can create an event, raise money, do watch parties. So there's lots of fun tools you can use. So make sure you look at all those different ways. And there you go. That's the end for today. Do you guys have any questions for me? And Cindy, you can put them. I know you can't talk, but feel free to put them in there if you have them.
I have a quick question.
Yes. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, great, fabulous again. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you're doing a Facebook Live, if it's more than one person, you can't do it on Facebook. You have to use
StreamYard.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, that's new. They used to, you were able to do it until about 1.5 years ago, but that went away. Yeah, but StreamYard is very easy. You know, you click one button, you connect it. It's free for the first maybe 10 or something, or 5. After that, you have to pay. But the advantage of StreamYard is that you can also download the video. So you can have it and then you can put it on, you know, YouTube or whatever down the line. Because if you make a video live in your Facebook group, because it's set to private, you can never download that video and you can never share it outside of the group. So actually by going through StreamYard, it's nice. And StreamYard has an integration with it where people can ask questions on Facebook and it will show up on your site on StreamYard. So what I used to do a lot of interviews that way, and so it was a great way to get people to ask questions during the live and I could ask the questions on their behalf.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Any other questions? No? All right, then I guess we're done. Thank you so much. Next week, we'll look at monetization. What are ways to use a group to make money as business owners, freelancers, service providers in a way that is ethical, because I love my ethics. So there we go. Thank you, everybody.